To install CMA tools, drag this zip file over the Blender installation and hit OK. Then over in the side panel, you'll see it show up. If you want to add one of the node groups to an existing object, hit Apply at GN. And if you want it to be added to the scene, hit Append. Let's start with the vector viewer. Hit Apply at GN while selecting the object you want to view the vector of. Then over in the modifier panel, you'll see vector viewer appear. Change the top entry from a single value over to a field and select whatever attribute you would like to see. If you want to see the original object, click Show Object. If you want to see the attribute on a face instead of a vertex, hit Faces. If you want to see the vector centered on 0.5 instead of 0, hit 0.5. And then if you need a normalized vector, hit Normalize. This will make it so the amplitude is the same, but the direction still shows up. Let's go over to Conform, which will be called Warp to Surface in the future. Let's make a little platform for it to be warped on. Let's add a torus for the object to be warped. Let's make the platform a little bit bigger. Select the object you want to be warped. Click on Apply GN. Then underneath the modifier panel, you can select either an object to be warped to or a collection to be warped to. Let's select object and select the plane that we just added. And you can see the object got warped. If you want to change the direction the object is being warped in, you can select the direction on this menu. Let's switch out this torus for a Suzanne. And let's add a few subdiv levels. You can change the method from offset to stretch. Stretch will just flatten the object onto the surface, where stretch will try to conserve its volume. On surfaces such as this, you may want to increase normal blur to get rid of errors and warping. If you have normal too low, you can see errors start to appear. One of the ways you can also get rid of errors is instead of using the normal underneath the object, use the average normal underneath the object, which will almost entirely get rid of errors. All right, let's go on to Tube Shaper. To add Tube Shaper to your scene, click on Append. Tube Shaper also has a few gizmos. If you select the geometry nodes group, they will appear. You can edit the endpoint of the object. You can edit the twist, which you can't see yet. You can edit the diameter, and then the resolution of the vertical and horizontal planes. Over in the modifier tab, the top setting are presets. If you didn't know, you can hold down Control and scroll wheel to scroll through options in Blender. If you want to flip the curves factor, click on Flip Curve. If you want to change the profile, so how instead of having a circle, having some other shape, change it from profile over to, let's say, square. You're going to square then. Also, without a circle, you can see the twist of a tube. One of the things you can do is instead of just having a square, you can have it change from a square to a circle at the bottom. So enable profile 2, and let's click on circle. If you want to flip the blending, hit flip blending. So you can see it starts out as a circle and it goes up to a square. At the bottom of the modifier tab, you can see the settings for the profiles. So a circle just has a radius and a square just also has a radius. But if you wanted to get fancy, you could change this over to a star, and then you would get the number of points and the outer and inner radius. So let's do something like this. There we go. You can then adjust the outer and internal radiuses. The vertical and horizontal resolution. By default, this is rather high, and you can always just reduce that by adding a decimate modifier. and the endpoint of the curve. There's also fill end gaps if you need that. Select the material you would want. And this blur weight function, if let's switch over to a marble pillar. At very high resolution, you can get stepping along the vertical axis. So if you increase weight, it will blur the change in diameter along the object. And then finally, twist. You can get some pretty cool combinations with all these settings. I'd love to see what you would come up with. Very strange looking goblet, perhaps. All right, that's it. You can get this add-on on my Patreon for just $5 a month. You can also get it on ArtStation, Gumroad, or Superhive. Thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions or advice, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.